This video follows on from the previous 4 videos titled Carrot Stretches 1 to 4. In this video we look at the next position in the sequence, which is nose to fetlock. The previous positions that we've looked at focused on lateral bend of the spine and engagement of the thoracic sling. Although with nose towards the fetlock, there is some lateral flexion of the neck, the main focus of the movement comes from dorsal flexion of the lumbar spine and pelvis. If we begin by looking at Mischief from the side, we should be able to see this movement. I tried to begin with her in a neutral position and stood reasonably square. Although I've started on the side that she finds the easiest, you can tell by her facial expressions that she still doesn't find it that easy to get to the lick. Here, watch how her back position changes as her head position alters. Once her head moves from the vertical line and more towards a horizontal or diagonal line, the whole of her back begins to round. It loses the lordotic appearance as she flexes over it. If we watch that again, we can compare her response to each of the positions. When her head is on more of the vertical line and her back remains lordotic, her ears are back. However, once she rounds her neck, enabling her head to take a more diagonal or even horizontal position, her back flexes. She's then happier to maintain the position and her ears are no longer back. If we look at these two positions as stills, you can see the differences quite clearly. When there's more lateral flexion in the neck, the back remains lordotic, meaning that the multifidus muscles are not activated as much and the vertebrae will be closer together. Once the neck becomes rounded, the whole of the spine becomes rounded, creating that dorsal flexion of the back. Here the vertebrae will be further apart and multifidus muscles activated. If we look at Mischief from the front, there is one other thing to note. Here she is flexing towards the left and there is little displacement of the trunk. However, if we look at her again flexing towards the right, you can see that she leans slightly towards the left. I think this is because she's more flexible down her left side and therefore finds it easier to displace her trunk towards the left rather than fully engaging the core muscles on the right hand side to bring her head around. I'm not too worried about this because she still is flexing over her back. However, to try to encourage her to correct, I keep giving her breaks and then asking her to reset. So let's compare that with Elsa, who, remember, has been doing these exercises for a lot longer than Mischief. She does normally position herself so that she has one foot in front of the other. The side that she's bending towards, that's the leg that she chooses to put in front. And I think she has to do that to be able to reach the lick because her neck is shorter, and I think she needs to do that to make herself a little shorter so that she can reach the ground. So this time she's going to turn towards the right, and this time she chooses to put the right foot in front. I don't mind her doing this because she does still flex over her back correctly when she's in the position. Although you can see the lift and rounding over Elsa's back, I don't think it's as dramatic as that seen with Mischief. This is because Elsa doesn't have the lordotic conformation and posture that Mischief naturally has. This does mean that Elsa doesn't have to work quite so hard as Mischief to achieve reaching the lick and lifting her back. Despite her taking one forelimb in front of the other, she is stable in her stance once she's put herself into her position and while she's licking the lick. She doesn't move around too much and she's happy to maintain the position and is willing to lick the lick for quite a few seconds before wanting a break. All of this tells me that she's confident and comfortable in this position and is able to engage her core and flex over her back to enable her to successfully get to the lick. If she was less confident, she might try to bend her knees or step backwards to get to the lick rather than bring her head and neck around and flex her back. I hope you found this video useful. Look out for video 6 for the final position within the sequence.